What's going on YouTube? It's Cortisol here, and today I wanted to answer a question that I got on my affliction guide, is to talk about keybinds and just kind of explain what I'm doing with my keybinds. So keybinds, the biggest thing I can tell you, like the biggest piece of advice anybody can give you about keybinds is really that it's all muscle memory and personal preference. But I guess if you want to find like two things to really base them around, I would say would be your movement keys, and I would say universal key bindings. And so what I mean by those two things is that your movement keys kind of dictate where your hands are going to be most of the time. So for me personally, I use QWE, Q and E to strafe left and right, and then W to walk forward. And then I also use my mouse and my mouse wheel to auto run and to use my mouse to walk around as well. And so this kind of dictates that my fingers are going to rest on QWE a lot of the time, and my keybinds are going to kind of be based around there. So having my fingers resting around QWE all the time, the most comfortable binds for me really to press are sort of 1 through 5, R, T, A, S, D, F, G, even H. I have longer fingers, so I can reach over to H as well. Z, X, C, V, and B, I can reach over to B as well. So it's really just preference. It's size of your hands. You know, there's a couple different factors that come into play there, but everything that I do is going to be based around my movement keys, personally for me. Now, universal keybinds is probably even more important in my eyes. It really helps you multi-class. So I personally play multiple classes. I like to play mage, I like to play druid, I like to play warrior, I like to really mix it up and play like everything throughout the expansion. And so what I do for universal keybinds really is I'm looking at like my fear keybind here on G, and if you go over to my mage, my polymorph will be keybound to G as well. On my druid, it's mighty bash, and cyclone is C, and C has always pretty much been like talented CC. So if we come into my talent tree here, we see that like Howl of Terror and Mortal Coil, they happen to be talents, so I put those on C as well. It's just kind of something that I've done over the years, and something that's become comfortable for me, and that's kind of just muscle memory for me. So that's the biggest thing about keybinds, is like making them muscle memory, and making them something that you don't have to think about too much when you're pressing them, and just something that helps you make your gameplay a little bit more fluid and smoother. So while I'm talking about keybinds and whatnot, I figured I'd go into my macros a little bit for you guys as well. I don't really use that many macros actually, but I actually just mostly have a focus CS macro. I have a Dark Soul macro that uses item slot 13, but right now it's the Corrupted Gladiator or Corrupted Aspirant Medallion. Right, it is corrupted, right? Corrupted Aspirant Medallion. And so I use 13 out of the macro, so I don't just spam my trinket every time I press Dark Soul, but usually like my Gladiator badge will go in this macro as well, and it's kind of just a like swifty one-shot DPS macro, if you will. I also use Arena 1, 2, and 3 Fear, but I also use Focus Fear. And so the reason I have both is pretty simply just because of rated BGs, where Arena 1, 2, 3 macros aren't functioning, and so a lot of times I'll throw my healer, or throw an enemy healer on Focus, or an enemy DPS on Focus, and I'll fear them that way. I'll keep casting out dots and whatnot, and then I'll right click on somebody's name and just press Shift G, which is Focus Fear, and that's really it. Same thing with Spell Lock. I have an Arena 1, 2, 3 for when I do play arenas, but if I'm not playing arenas, then I typically will just use the interrupt itself and the focus interrupt. With those things being said, I do also want to say I've been playing the game for over 10 years, and in those 10 years I've had a massive amount of different keybinds. At one point I very simply just had I just had 1 through equals, and then shift 1 through equals, because I have a Razor Naga. And so now, as you can see, my keybinds are a little bit more in depth. They're just kind of things, like I said, universally that just make sense to me. One of the biggest things I can tell you not to do is straight up go over to Sea-Doo or Absterge or Venruki or any of those high-rated BlizzCon players. Don't just jump on their stream and copy their keybinds for the sole purpose of copying their keybinds. what's comfortable for them is not going to be what's comfortable for you. They've been using those keybinds since Burning Crusade in some cases, Wrath of the Lich King in some cases, and so they really haven't changed much over the years of them playing, and so they are extremely comfortable with those keybinds. But I'm sure with some of the keybinds that I've seen them have, where Cedo I think uses Control B for something, which is kind of, for me personally, Control B is kind of crazy to press. So over the years, like, they just learned to use those keybinds, and that's like the big thing I want to stress to you guys is don't go crazy overthinking keybinds. It's really not some crazy game inside the game, right? It's just whatever helps you as a player play the game at a smoother, better pace. I guess you could, I don't really know how to put it, but yeah, it's all about just muscle memory and whatever works for you. So just don't overcomplicate your keybinds. Try to go for universal keybinds. It really helps, I think, when, you know, all of my characters, Control T is a big DPS cooldown, and Shift C is my shield wall or my defensive cooldown. It really helps across all characters, and it just kind of imprints that in my brain that if I, no matter what class I'm playing, if I press Shift C, I'm going to use the defensive ability. If I press Control T, I'm going to use my big damage ability. There's a couple like one-off wonky things like Curse of Tongues, Shadow Bolt being on D, Drain Life being on A. These were essentially just abilities that I kind of just needed a keybind for, and I put those there, and I'm still getting used to actually some of those binds going into Shadowlands. But like Drain Life on A, for example, I was playing Destro for most of BFA, and I really didn't have a reason to press Drain Life, but it was something I still wanted to have keybound in the event that I ever needed it. So I put it on A. So it's there, but I'm not gonna like, it's not in the best place to just press it all the time. But now I'm used to A, so now that I'm playing Affliction and I'm actually pressing Drain Life again, A is honestly comfortable because I've had it there for so long, and so I don't really think twice about pressing Drain Life. It's just kind of there, and that's that, and that's kind of how that's how keybinds kind of form, I guess. So that's really it, guys. I mean, you know, just don't overcomplicate things for yourself. Just muscle memory is all it's really about. Before I end this video, I just wanted to say thank you guys for the support here on YouTube and over on Twitch. Reaching my sub goal for the first time ever was really awesome, so thank you to those who contributed. The YouTube algorithm really seemed to like my Affliction Warlock guide, and I hope you guys did as well. It was only for pre-patch. The big guide is coming for Shadowlands. I'm really excited about it. I've been working really hard on it. It's taken hours and hours of testing things, and I'm just super excited to post that finally as we get closer and closer to Shadowlands. I don't want to post it too soon, and the only reason is because things can change. Who knows what could happen from now until the release date of Shadowlands. If you guys want to check me out live, you can head over to twitch.tv/cortisolx. I'll leave the link in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for your support. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy what is to come, and I'll see you in the next one.
Into